Let's say you all have an LLC startup, you're a new business, and you're looking for a no credit check business loan. So what are the conditions you must meet? What are the hacks you can implement, right? What are the things you can do to actually get the loan, your LLC startup business loan with no credit check? Let's talk about that. Let's really have a quick conversation about that. So here are the steps I really want you to follow. The very first thing you want to do if you want to get an LLC startup business loan with no credit check is to actually review your credit. I know this might sound counterintuitive, like I'm talking to you about no credit check, and then I'm asking you to review your credit. You know why? Because if you're looking for an LLC startup business loan, no credit check, chances are you have a substandard or subpar credit score. You probably are swimming around 300, 400, or 500 in the FICO C. So you're probably like, you know what? I'm not really comfortable here, so I don't want them to look at my credit score. So, but the thing is, if you review your credit score, you might be surprised because sometimes, and you'll be really, and this might sound a little weird to you, sometimes you might think your credit score is low, but when you actually check, you realize, hey, listen, I think I was around 500, and I'm very happy. I'm dancing right now because I realized that I'm around 575 or 625. You never know. So at 625, you're not going to look for a no credit check LLC startup business loan anymore because you can actually get better financing deals with the banks and credit unions. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. I mean, I love having this kind of conversations with you. And so the very first thing you want to do here is to review your credit. Number two, you want to identify your borrowing needs. And by the way, when I'm talking about reviewing your credits, I'm talking about your personal credit score. The second thing is you need to identify your LLC startup borrowing needs. What do you need the money for? Talk to me, boss. Do you need the money for inventory? Talk to me. Do you need the money for equipment financing? Talk to me. Do you need the money for everything else? Talk to me. Do you need money to make payroll? Talk to me. You got to identify your borrowing needs. And when we talk about identifying your borrowing needs, we are speaking about an ancillary question, a related question, which is, are you going to find the money to repay whatever you are borrowing right now? Because see, it's not about just asking for $100,000. It's about being able to repay that 100G when time comes to repay it. Okay. So there has to be a two-way street here. So you need to identify your borrowing needs, and you got to figure out where you're going to get the revenue to pay the loan back. The third thing I want you to do here is that if you are trying to get an LLC startup business loan with no credit check, is to really compare lenders, because the whole thing here is that there are some lenders who specialize in that kind of loan. Okay. And listen, don't let anybody razzle dazzle you telling you that you cannot get an LLC startup business loan with no credit check. You can. It is totally possible. We do this all the time for our own business clients. It's totally possible. There is a process. There is a process, and that's what I'm explaining to you here. You got to go through that process. You got to look for that formula, that success formula. Compare lenders. So you want to actually first start with the bank where you're currently at. Oh yeah. People say, well, if you are a startup, you will never get a loan at Chase. You'll never get an LLC loan at Citi, Wells Fargo. Those banking behemoths. This is not true. People who speak like that, they have no idea. They have no idea about something called relationship banking. They have no idea. Most people have no idea about relationship banking. They just want to get up, get their ass up and just go apply at a bank. This is just, it doesn't make sense. If your ass has been sitting at Chase for the last 20 years, you have built a relationship at the personal level with Chase. What is your ass going to do with Wells Fargo? You looking for a loan and you just leave Chase. You go into Wells Fargo for what? Nobody knows your ass there. I'm just telling you straight up. The thing here is that when we talk about business loan, business credit in general for your LLC, especially for LLC startups, it's all about relationship first. Okay, so when I'm talking about comparing lenders, I'm talking about first starting with where you are currently at, and see if the bank where you're currently at, if they can actually give you an LLC startup business loan. I mean, we'll talk about the no credit check later on, but once you have the ability to see if they have it, then you want to start the conversation there. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. Once again, I want to remind you of today's topic. I'm explaining to you how to get an LLC startup business loan, no credit check. The fourth step I want you to follow right now is to organize your financial documents. See, this is where things becomes more interesting. This is where, like, son, daughter, you probably just are messing up. You know why? Because you think it's impossible to get an LLC start a business loan, but you can if you have the right documents. And by documents, I'm speaking about what? Financial statements, projected financial statements. I'm talking about business plan. I'm talking about your LLC articles of organization. I'm talking about your business licenses. When you hear the terms projected, forecasted, estimated, pro forma, those are analogous. Those are synonymous. They mean the same thing. Don't let anybody razzle dazzle you trying to confuse the hell out of you. They mean the same thing. You need to have those documents. Okay? If you have those documents, you are actually improving your chances of being approved. And what you want to do here is that if you are looking for an LLC startup business loans with no credit check, what you want to do here is to submit a formal application. Now, there are 3 categories of lenders that will actually cater to your LLC startup. If you're looking for a business loan with no credit check, there are 3 categories. You have the traditional lenders, banks and credit unions. Then you have the alternative lenders. Then you have the online lenders. The funny thing is, people always say, and it's kind of funny, people who say this, they have no idea. But people always say, well, you can never get a loan. You can never get a startup loan at Chase. You can never get a startup loan at Wells Fargo. You can never get a startup loan at Citi. You can never get a startup loan at the Bank of America. This is not true. Uncle, aunt, I'm talking to you. Grandma, grandpa, I'm talking to you. Cousin, I'm just talking to you. It's all about relationship banking. A lot of us who talk like that, they have no idea what relationship banking means. If you've been working with Chase for the last 20 years and you're asking Chase to give you an LLC startup business loan, no credit check, they'll give it to you. If you know how to ask, if you know how to ask, you ask the right way, you go to a branch, you have all the paperwork, you are able to start a conversation. Because you know why? Because you already have a relationship and you are parlaying that relationship into a business loan for your startup. This is what it is. It takes a relationship. It takes a stronger foundation. It takes a stronger, like a more fulcrum, a better foundation on which you can build your business credit application. So money. Boss, how much do you need for your LLC startup? No credit check. And based on that, you got to really figure out whether or not you want to start at the Chase, at the institution where you're currently at, like at the bank, the credit union or bank, or you want to go for an online lender. And with online lending, you have a lot of players. You have the Lendio of the world, the loan marketplaces. You have the National Business Capital of the world. You have the Smart Biz of the world. You have the Blue Vine of the world. And then you also have the alternative lenders. Those are like this is a different category. You have the Kalamata Group. You have the Smart Biz. You have a lot of them. You have a lot of players in that field. Now, let me give you the review you really need to pay attention to. So if you're trying to have an LLC startup business loan, no credit check, you got to have a clear idea about the types of such loans, okay? The thing here is that you have several types of loans that you actually can avail yourself of if you're looking for a no credit check LLC startup business loan. The very first one is your regular term loans. Yeah, irregular LLC startup term loans. You can get those at banks and credit unions. Going back to what I said earlier, it's all about relationship. Son, daughter, it's all about relationship. I want you to take that word and keep it in your mind. It's all about relationship. If you have any relationship, if you have the right relationship, send us in the comment section. Tell us in the comment section where you have the relationship, and we are going to help you get the startup business loan that you need, no credit check, because you're going to need a business plan. You're going to need a few things. But once you have those, you are forcing the bank to shift their focus from your personal credit to your business credit. And that's what you want. You are actually doing like very, very smartly. You are telling the bank, hey, listen, hey, Look over here. Look over here. Don't look there, because there I have a crappy credit score. I have a crappy credit score, and I don't want your ass to look at that particular part of my life. So you're telling the bank to look at your business credit, and that's totally possible. By the way, boss, I want to remind you of today's topic. We're still having a conversation about how to get an LLC startup business loan, no credit check. So besides term loans, you can actually also have a SBA loans for your LLC startup, no credit check. This is totally possible. People believe that for SBA loans you need to have a credit check all the time. No, you don't have to. I mean, we do this all the time for our business clients. There are ways to structure your LLC startup business credit card business loan application so that you actually quote unquote evade the credit check part of things. Oh yeah, this is totally possible. Remember that SBA loans are really provided by regular banks and administered by the SBA, right? But at the local level, it's banks that are giving out the SBA loans. So when we talk about the types of LLC startup business loans, no credit check. So you have term loans, you have SBA loans, but you also have business line of credit. So business lines of credit or other types of LLC startup business funding, no credit check. This is totally possible also here. You can actually, when it comes to the business lines of credit, you can get such I would say such credit arrangements at your regular bank or credit union. You can get it online. So you have players such as Blue Vine, right? You have players such as Undeck. You have players such as Amex. You have players such as MS Cabbage. You have players such as you have a lot of players. You have a lot of players in this industry, and they'll take care of you. They'll take care of you. I mean, they give you the startup business loan, no credit check, as long as you know how to apply. I want to insist on that. And as long as you know how to apply, there are no like a free lunch, whatever. Like those lenders, they're not charities. They're not philanthropies trying to like dole out some charity money, whatever. They're there to make money. And you want to also consider invoice factoring. Okay, so invoice factoring this is really good. Also, if your LLC has some accounts receivable you want to monetize, you are able to use the invoice factoring as an LLC startup business loan, no credit check. This is totally possible. So big decision time, boss. Big decision time. So with all the scenarios I've given you, is there anyone that really applies to your situation? Talk to me about that. I mean, do you have accounts receivables? Do you have outstanding accounts receivables? Whereas the client is of good quality? Or are you interested in term loans? Talk to me, son, daughter, talk to me. Are you looking for a business line of credit? Are you looking for invoice factory? You got to really be in a situation where you know exactly what you're looking for, so that you can actually parlay whatever relationship you currently have to actually get the loan that you need and want anyway in the first place. So this is really the crux of the conversation we need to have, right? We need to really be sure that we are going after the specific LLC startup business loan, no credit check that we want. And depending on your situation, depending on your revenue, your projections, rather, not the actual revenue, but your projected revenue, you might actually attract certain lenders. And so this is all you need anyway. I want to really give you a few pro tips, and those are like standards and best practices we use ourselves to sort of gauge. Like if we start analyzing LLC startup business loans, no credit check, we have a few pointers that help us whether or not this loan is great or like whatever. So first, you want to pay attention to the minimum qualification requirements. So if you are looking for an LLC startup business loan, no credit check, ask yourself first, what are the minimum qualification requirements? Okay. And simply because they have no credit check in the title doesn't mean that it will be very easy for you to qualify, because maybe the lender is asking for you to be in business for 2 years minimum. Maybe the lender wants you to be to be structured as an LLC, but in a very specific way, because remember that LLCs are actually state products, and so there is no federal agency that actually regulates LLCs. So the IRS being a federal product, wants to actually solidify, solidify its own caliber. Now, so you have minimum qualification requirements. You also have to think about the available loan amounts and terms. So this is why, if you remember a couple of minutes ago, I was just asking you how much you really need, right? How much you really need, because you need to have a clear idea about that. And so you also have to think about the interest rates and fees. So when we talk about like interest rates and fees, LLC business loan interest rates can range from 5% to 99%. We have seen even more than that. So what you want to do here is that you want to really maybe reduce the overall cost of borrowing by shopping for a lender that offers the most competitive rates based on your LLC's qualification. Okay, and you always have the opportunity to actually gauge the interest in specific products or service by actually doing the right job, not really really trying to increase and improve your situation in such a way that you are able to reach your job properly. And also, other ways you need to compare LLC loans, no credit check, is that you want to look for the collateral requirements. So remember, when we said no credit check, you might have to do a collateralized loan for your LLC. Like, for example, if you have equipment loans, this is actually a collateralized loan. And you also have to pay attention to the application process and requirements. So you have to pay attention to the complexity of loan applications. Okay, this will vary from lender to lender. Some lenders it takes 1 or 2 days. Some lenders it takes 1 to 2 weeks, and some lenders it takes 1 to 2 months, really. Okay, in terms of approval, and again, it depends on the amount that you want and how fast you want it. You also need to think about, like, let's say the funding speed. So the funding speed is important also, because you want to like, if you need cash quickly, make sure potential lenders actually offer funding speeds that align with your timeline. So while some lenders advertise same or next day funding, most disperse loan proceeds within a few business days. This is something you need to really think about. And so also think about the customer review. So customer reviews are important, because then you have a clearer idea about what really works for you. So bottom line here is that you just you really need to pay. I mean, the chances are you are able to do things in a different way if you know how to apply for an LLC, startup, business loan, no credit check. This is the power. So you are able to compare them. You're able to know exactly which one works. You're able to know which one doesn't work. And at the end of the day, it's totally up to you to say, you know what, I want this one, but I don't want that one. Or I just want both of them. I just want to call it both. Yeah. Or you could just say also that, I just want to decide whether or not I want to go for a regular lender, like a bank, credit union, or I want to go for an alternative lender. So see, the thing is, you saw, like, if you do some research as we did, you'll realize that alternative lenders, for example, they are the ones who can actually provide you with the highest amounts when it comes to ALC, startup business loans, no credit check. However, you don't see a lot of them. You don't see a lot of them at all. Like, so the question is it the right strategy? Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I'll just quickly talking to you about how to get an LLC, start a business loan, no credit check. And so we talked about the recap. We actually spoke about, we gave you the approach, and we also talk about the pro tips, the review, and at the end of the day, we talked about the steps. Thank you. God bless you. Speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.